Hey, welcome everybody to another episode 1019, The Watch Commander. And have we got an action-packed show for you this evening? And with me, of course, is the great Mike Bornman. And one of our special guests is Victoria Redstall. Victoria, welcome. And we have another very special guest, Alex Villanueva's here. We're going to be talking about something that's coming out Thanksgiving Day on the
Where'd Ken go? Did we lose Ken?
We may have lost him.
Am I here?
Well, hey, no, well, it's a blank screen right now. There, oh, you're back. Okay.
Yeah. So, Alex, tell us about your book.
Yeah, this is a book is kind of a memoir, autobiographical. The first one third is about how I got from humble beginnings to becoming sheriff, and then the 2/3 is campaign for sheriff, my time in office, and then the war that the board of supervisors waged against me while I was in office. So it should be a very interesting read for those who are interested in leadership and public policy and politics. This is the reaction I've got from people that read through it is very, very encouraging. So this should be exciting.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
this website is it's dedicated to the book, sheriffvillanueva33.com. And the buy now button will go active on Thanksgiving Day.
Yes, correct.
Very cool. What do you think,
Hey,
Mike?
well, I actually can't wait to read it. Hey, Alex, how much does the hardback go for?
Hardback, I think, is 32. The paperback is 22, and Kindle, I think, is $9.
And will you make accommodations for people if they want to get an autographed copy from you?
Always.
How would you do that? Are you going to have them just do it through the website or something and contact you directly?
Probably contact me directly, and we'll do some book signings and different events around the Southland, and we'll see. We'll map that out as the time goes.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to read it. Is there anything in particular you want people to keep an eye on or focus in on?
Well, there's some startling things there that should give a lot of heartburn to the California Democrats and Mr. Bonta in particular, and the Board of Supervisors that is of note. And I think now that we have a new Department of Justice, there's some people that should be pretty nervous about now.
Yeah. Are you going to name names?
Oh, I name names. I don't hold back on names.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't expect anything less. To
That's
be
going to be
honest
good,
with you.
man.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we can't wait. I appreciate
Yeah.
your coming on.
Yeah, no, it's I grew up in Puerto Rico and I came from the East Coast, so I landed here in '83. So the last 41 years I've been here in LA, and it's been an interesting ride, to say the least, a roller coaster.
Well, LA County's a different animal now than it was back then, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Hey, you know what? Before you split, what do you think about Prop 36 passing and George Gascon getting booted out?
Mm.
There's four big events that happened on election day. You had Prop 36 passing. You got Gascon got the boot. You got Pamela Price in Alameda County got the boot, and
Yeah.
Shane Howe, the mayor of Oakland, got the boot. So that's a 4 for 4 right there. And that what do they say in baseball? They batted the cycle, and I think that
Yeah,
is
they hit for the cycle, yeah.
yeah, and I think that illustrates where the sentiment of voters are. They're tired of business as usual. The criminal justice reform movement is pretty much dying because all they produce is failure, anarchy, and more victims. And but check the language of Hilda Solis. They're doubling down on this care first agenda. They just
Oh,
can't
yeah.
give a bone. You know, it's like a pit bull on a bone. They refuse to give it up, and no one has ever voted on care first, jail last. They want to see victims first, criminals last. But the board sees the exact opposite, and that's why you got Trump in the White House and not Harris.
Yeah, I think the Democratic Party in total is so tone deaf. I'm actually appreciative of that fact right now, right? If we can make some more headway and get things back to where they need to be.
Definitely. But the only thing I'd advocate is we need a healthy Republican Party. We need a healthy Democratic Party. We need to have debate on both sides of the aisle. But at the end of the day, people need to come together and just march down the middle towards common sense goals and things that everyone can agree on.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll get there. I agree with you on that.
Yeah, very good.
And,
Well, thanks a lot, Alex. Remember, Thanksgiving Day, the link will be live, sheriffvillanueva33.com. Go out and buy that book. And also, we'll let you know how you can get signed copies of it, which I think everybody should get.
yeah, I want a signed copy, so I'll be hitting you up.
All right, sound good.
All right.
All right,
Thank
brother.
you, Alex.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Well, that was
Hey.
pretty cool.
Yeah, Victoria, you got to learn how to just be quiet and listen to people, all right?
I just quiet for the first time in my life, and all the years you've known me.
I know. I thought maybe you were a mannequin there because that's not the Victoria I know.
I'm back now.
Well, let me throw some of the folks that showed up here. Mark Slater, welcome.
Marky Mark.
And Mark Slater and Randall Glenn, all the way from Canada. And Only Anxious One is here as well. And let's see here. Randall Glenn says, Happy Thanksgiving. I think they have a different Thanksgiving Day in Canada than we do. So thank you for that. And of course, Zippy's here. Zippy's here.
She's in the Sierras?
She's in the Sierras with, she wants to wish everybody a happy gobble gobble. And GJ never fails to impress. I got confused. I was watching the show with John Bayless. I was wondering how I said hi in that chat. I'm not even having my point.
Oh.
I'm old.
Dude,
so,
take a couple of swigs right now so you can catch up.
Oh, I will. I'll do it for him.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Sonia.
Sonia's here.
¿Cómo estás?
And oh, I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I missed your I don't, how
yeah,
Sonia,
it'll be on Kindle, but that's probably about as far as it goes.
Yeah, Sonia, does the Audible, does that just take a lot of money to do that? And do you know? Did you hear me?
She's like, why you asking me that?
I thought she was
on me.
You know what? I think actually, if it's on Kindle, maybe there is a talk to text. I don't know. I think if the book takes off, I would almost bet that they would end up with an Audible version, and he'd probably do the narration, right?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, but I think it's really got to take off for that point. So everybody should. I mean, he's a colorful dude. I love him or hate him, right? So I think the book should be good reading.
Well, I'm going to hand this off to Mike, and then we're going to let me just throw this up here about why we're here tonight, and tell us about all this, Mike.
Well, we're talking about serial killers here with Victoria. Victoria, why are you wearing a jail shirt?
Oh, that's so funny. I got my polo neck out tonight because it's so cold here in Naples, Florida. So I didn't even think about it like that. You're right.
Well, I've always been fascinated by the things you do, not just the writing, but the other things you get involved in. But I guess a question that everyone wants the answer to is, how did you come across the topic of serial killers, and what is it about it that gets you wanting to use your creative juices on it?
Well, when I was 11 in England, we had very, very close family friends that had a murder in their family. Mass murderer went out and had a vendetta against our closest friends, the father. And his two kids were like brother and sister to me because I didn't have any brothers and sisters. We went on holidays to Spain every year, twice a year, sometimes more, had times in England spent together. And one day this man, for whatever reason it was, he decided he wanted to kill Nick, the father. But the son, who was like a brother to me, Gareth, was opening the door. I was 11 years old at boarding school at the time, so I didn't know this happened. But this man had been 35 miles away, and he killed somebody in Hackney, which is where he was obsessed with a boy at the school. Killed the father of the boy, paralyzed the boy, so they shot them, drove to Bishop Stortford, where our friends were, and Gareth went to the door as he was banging, the bad guy was banging it down with a sledgehammer, the murderer, and killed Gareth. And then Nick, the father, who was like a second father to me, came walking because he heard a noise through his Walkman. He was listening to a Walkman, didn't realize his son was dying on the floor as he was calling 999, which is the equivalent to 911. And he went to fight with this guy, realizing it was the teacher he'd fired. And he was a school principal, so the headmaster of the school. And at that time, Nick was shot, wrestling for the gun in the garden. And in the hospital, when he was being operated on, he found out that his son had died. And the other family, the father had died and the son was paralyzed. So it was what's called a mass murderer, a spree killing. And this is the age of 11. When I was told this, it affected my whole life because I loved this family and we were so close. And I wanted to get in the mind of a monster that can go from an innocent child to a monster, because I believe we're all innocent at the age of 18 months or 4 months or 2 years, but we can become a monster. And I want to know how. And that's when I started to study the minds of serial killers from the age of 11. Serial killers, mass murderers, spree killers, and that kind of group of monsters.
Cool. I did want to talk about one in particular that you've written on, because, offline we've talked about stuff over the past few months, and I think that's the Southside Slayer. Is that the one that calls you to see what's up and how things are going?
Oh, this is really funny. This is my phone today. I don't pick it up. I haven't picked it up for a long time. But do you see that? That's today. You see that? Chester Turner. That's today. So,
oh, yeah, Chester.
But this is the weirdest thing. This is the problem with California. One of the many is it's no more death row. Chester Turner, Southside Slayer, killed 14 people. He's on death row, but there is no death row. So they get moved around.
Right.
Well, they've been given iPads, they've been given cell phones, and it's all paid for by the state of California, by the taxpayers. So this guy calls me. Now, I'm not saying I haven't picked it up. I spoke to him about 3 months ago, but he'll call once every few weeks. I tell him, don't call me more than once a month. He's very good about that. But I'll chat with him because I did chat with him every week when I was interviewing him in the Men's Central Jail, probably back in 2010. So he had my phone number. They all have my phone number, but I certainly didn't expect him to get through because usually it's a collect call and he's paying for it. The state's paying for it. So that's what's so strange about it. They get treated like kings in prison in California, especially now up in Newsom.
It sounds like he's a relatively courteous murderer, though, because he doesn't call you more than once a month. Is that
right? No, very courteous to me. That's the problem. They're very respectful to me. Otherwise, I just hang up or I won't talk to them. So they've got to be good to me. But no, he very nice to me. But again, he was a very bad one, Mike. You knew what he did in the jail. He would rip out the sink and cause floods, and he was always in lockdown.
Yeah. Oh, I'm assuming he was probably in high power, right?
Oh, high power, yes, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. For those of you not on the department or don't know high power, it was a section in Central Jail where they keep the worst of the worst, the gang leaders, the serial killers, the mass murderers, the William Bonnans, the Southside Slayer, the Hillside Slayer, the whatever else Slayers we've got out there.
This one, the Grim Sleeper, he was high power.
Yeah. Did you want to just kind of run down his history and what he did and what he told you about why and all that?
Grim Sleeper or Southside Slayer?
Well, let's talk Southside Slayer. He's the one that's calling you, right?
Yeah, he's the one. He won't. We don't talk so much about the murders, but he's not one that talks about it. They never really did. Some of them have done with me, but some of them they don't talk about it.
Well, on the Grim Sleeper book, then what do you write about if he's not going to tell you about what happened?
I wrote about his childhood and what turned him into a monster, what I feel turned him into a monster. It was the abuse he received at school. It wasn't the abuse from family, so that's different. He didn't have a head injury, so that's different. He just had a deep hatred of slutty women. That's what the common denominator I find with all serial killers. So women that sleep around, women that are prostitutes, to them, it's the same thing. They're not worthy to be on the earth.
So he's a prostitute killer, right? Is that?
Oh, all of them.
All of them? All of them?
All of them have been, except one. In one of this book, one of them killed gay men. One of them just killed gay men because he had a thing against gay men. But
which one was that?
Gary Ray Bowles in Florida. He was a John, he was the prostitute. Sorry, he was a prostitute. And he would kill the Johns because he had a problem with gay men. He used to think they were child molesters because he was molested by a man as a child. So he thought that all gay men must be child molesters, which of course is not true.
Well, I hope he got paid first before he killed him.
I don't know. I don't think I even asked him that question. I don't know.
Independently wealthy, I guess.
Yeah.
What's the creepiest one that you came across in all of your writings and all your interviews?
Two of the creepiest, Michael Gargiulo and Richard Ramirez. They're the scariest of all. They both got a very similar look. It's as if they're possessed by the devil when I interviewed both of them.
Oh, you got to talk to Richard?
Richard Ramirez one time on death row, California death row, and then Michael Gargiulo, 3 times, and no one ever got to talk to Michael Gargiulo because he wouldn't talk to anyone. Do you remember him, Mike?
No. What was his street name?
He killed in Chicago and he killed in LA, and they say he killed Ashton Kutcher's ex-girlfriend. And 48 Hours hired me to go in and talk to him because he wouldn't talk to anyone on 48 Hours. So they recorded it. They got the footage from the jail. Sold them the footage, and the show on 48 Hours is called The Boy Next Door. So you hear all his answers to me, what I asked, all the questions, but you won't hear my voice in it. But I'm the one, the other side of the plexiglass.
Right.
And that's Michael Gargiulo, and it's called The Boy Next Door on 48 Hours. So I was the only one that he ever spoke to once he got locked up.
And who was he killing? What was his body du jour?
That was a weird one because he didn't kill prostitutes. And he was extremely weird. He could have killed someone like me. He could have killed somebody like my next door neighbor. There's no rhyme or reason. They're so mental and depraved that they don't have any pattern. Serial killers normally have a pattern, a victim type. At least they can make sense to themselves. Right. They have a victim type that they follow. But this guy and also Richard Ramirez, he was killing husbands and wives and children. And I don't understand the mindset. I can't understand it. And they're pure evil, almost like a schizophrenic person. They're possessed by the devil.
Yeah, I mean, Richard Ramirez, I think he was possessed. You could tell just by looking at him and listening to him and seeing the things that he did. I mean, I know a lot of things that guy was doing. I was in patrol at that time, and we would get bulletins about things. It's just the incredible savagery of this guy. It's like it had to be just mindless, out-of-body thinking, whatever he was up to. Because he just picked his victims by house, right? Or by location, not necessarily by person.
Oh, yeah, not by person. It was by house, and he'd break into the house.
Yeah. Sorry, Ken.
I got a question for you, Victoria.
Yes, Ken.
I've seen interviews, like jailhouse interviews with these killers, on like Netflix or whatever. And listening to these guys talk would just creep me out. But to sit in front of them, that would just be weird. Do you find that a lot of times these killers, they're like charming?
Yes, I see what people say about them being charming. Not the Michael Gargiulo and the Richard Ramirez. That's just like talking to a serpent, and it's frightening. It makes your skin crawl. But when it comes to other people, they can be charming because they come across very innocent. Because they don't have any agenda with me. They're just talking. And I encourage them to talk about themselves, their life, where they live in the jail, what it's like. Because you want to get information from them and make it where they aren't putting walls up. And then you'll get to the meat and potatoes of what you really want. So I have had people like Gary Ray Bowles and Wayne Ford who talk in specific detail about the way they killed these people. Both of them. I mean, and Keith Jesperson, that was another one in Oregon. They've all told me graphic details of how they've done it. It's just the Grim Sleeper and the Southside Slayer. Neither of them did. They kind of almost claimed that, it wasn't me, somebody else.
I saw that note that Dale put up. If I recollect what Dale's talking about, on the second floor of the jail, there were some 2-man cells in an area that wasn't used because they weren't constitutionally sized for 2 people. I think that's what Dale was talking about. This guy was put away, not even in high power. He was in this super secret little tunnel squirreled away area of CJ.
Richard Ramirez?
Richard Ramirez, yeah.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, actually. I how do you get into the mind of a serial killer? I guess we could get some of the old homicide guys in here, like, like Carrillo. I might be able to get Carrillo to come on. He's a pretty good dude. And
Sonia has Sonia has a question for you. What's a commonality they share?
Well, usually they've been abused, neglected, have had a head injury, have a substance abuse. But there have been some cases that they don't have that. Wayne Adam Ford had all of the above. He had a brain injury when he was in the Marines at 19 and was knocked unconscious and spent days in hospital. That hit the frontal lobe of his brain, which is where our emotions are. So therefore, there's no handbrake on the emotions anymore. So when you want to just punch a prostitute in the head or whatever men want to do with prostitutes, he went as far as to kill them. That's because there's no control of the brain. He also had an addiction to alcohol. He was also abused and neglected by his mother, who left him at a very young age, and he was abused by both parents. So Wayne Ford had the whole lethal cocktail that makes up a serial killer. Grim Sleeper, I don't think he had any brain injury, and he didn't have a bad childhood. He was close to his parents, but he was abused by his school friends. They called him fat and short because he was a very short guy and he was round. But that had no reason. Why would he go out and kill prostitutes? So I don't know what happened because I never got to him confessing to me. Keith Hunter Jesperson, again, not a bad childhood, but he had some kind of brain injury and no substance abuse. But the common denominator is that they hate slutty women. They have a deep hatred for it. I'm just trying to tell you where it began. So they all have that hatred for women that sleep around, women that are prostitutes, women that degrade womanhood. And they don't feel that God wants them on the earth. And if they're not religious, it's just they feel that they have a right to wipe them off the earth. And they enjoy doing it. So those very same men can be very happily married and very, very good with their wives. Look at the Green River Killer. The Green River Killer, what's his name? Green River from Washington State. You remember him, Ken?
Yeah, I remember him.
Mm-hmm.
His wife told me he never raised his voice to me in 21 years of marriage. Never raised his voice. They raised puppies together. He'd come home sometimes late at night, but he'd killed 49 prostitutes. He was convicted of about only 14, but he actually killed and confessed to 49 or 72. Now I've got my numbers wrong, but the Green River Killer was called Gary Ridgway, and it's Judith Ridgway that said, never did he ever raise his voice to me. So these men respect and love certain ladies, but they have a hatred for certain kinds of women.
Well, do you think it might also be the fact that the prostitutes are easy targets?
That's what people want to think. I don't believe so at all. They have a hatred for them. There are plenty of other easy targets as well, aren't there? Hikers, tourists, people out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but prostitutes they're a pretty vulnerable group, especially the ones that are like street level, hanging on the corner with the torn fishnet stockings and everything. I mean, most of them don't have relatives that know where they are or who they are.
But they've got pimps always right behind them. They've got a pimp. Don't you think?
No. I think a lot of them are just street urchins. We used to call them strawberries in Firestone area.
Oh, strawberries.
I wrote a show and it got taken by A&E. I shouldn't have said it, but it did. And it was called Runaways. And I wrote it all by myself. And I had Adam Atala, Adam Atala, and quite a few other people. And we did a pilot. And we had to go out in the streets. The show was to save these girls from the streets under 18 and either bring them home to their families. These are prostitutes. And bring them home to their families or put them in a safe area to save them from being a prostitute under the age of 18, the girls that have gone missing. And we went out into the streets and we were so scared that they didn't pick it. One network couldn't pick it up because it was so dangerous because of the pimps that were behind these girls. So they're known to have pimps that are somewhere lurking around. They can see what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, obviously I'm coming at it from a male perspective and law enforcement, and it just seems to me like there's such easy targets. And I would venture to guess that hatred probably goes more than just prostitutes. It's probably just flirtatious kind of women, which is what you're talking about. Yeah. I can see that. It's a creepy way to live, man. And they need to be put down like the rabid dogs they are, but not in California. Where's the South Side dude? Is he even still at Folsom or Quentin, or they move him around?
No, they moved him he's in San Diego.
Yeah, of course they. Oh, Donovan.
He's at Donovan.
Yeah, right, one step across the border. I don't understand what the state's doing, but we can't slip into talking about California politics because that's exactly what this is all about. where the governor thinks that he knows better than the people of the state who sentenced somebody to death, and he's like, I think we're going to give him a crayon set and an iPad and a cell phone, and see how they do. But the politics are just out of.
It's out of control. I know. I mean, the Menendez brothers, I'm sorry. You kill your parents. I don't care what they did. And it's none of our business what they did. You kill your parents that brought you into this world. They should have been killed long ago. And now they want to release these people.
Well, hopefully that gets switched around. But my whole thing is people are really blinding themselves to what these guys did. There's books written about it. And it's more than just, oh, my dad beat me up and all this. I mean, they lied about it initially, and then they came up with the daddy raped me thing only after they got some attorneys, who switched gears and said, oh, let's try this. And they put him in the preppy clothes and the pink sweaters and everything, and tried to make him look like just a couple of the guys from the neighborhood. But, my thing is, okay, let's say dad molested the one. So you go and you stick a shotgun in your mom's face and blow her head off? That doesn't compute in my book, and fortunately, Gascon, the losing POS, he'll be gone early December or mid-December, I forget when. But Hochman has already said he doesn't want to do anything on that case until he personally reviews it. And Gavin Newsom has also said he's not going to touch it until after the DA makes the further determination. So hopefully cooler heads will rule, and they'll kick those rat bastard murderous punks right back in prison where they belong.
Yeah,
Right.
they just put that.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, they just put that case on hold today till January.
So they won't be
Good.
out for Christmas.
Well, that's good. Well, could you imagine? I'll be home for Christmas. Who are they going to be coming to? They killed their frickin' parents. I guess there's like one family member that still thinks that they're the cat's pajamas. Yeah, let them have them. But I can't believe. Yeah, Sonia might be right.
So Sonia, I hope so, Sonia.
Well, you know what, Knucklehead Smith, he terms out in 26, so he's only got like maybe 2 years to screw with us. But
it's who's Smith?
But then that's Newsom.
Before Kamala,
Yeah, but the
becomes
problem
governor.
is you see that Kamala, as her family says, they say, oh, she's primed and ready to go. And it was pretty cool when I saw Caitlyn Jenner say, I'm going to kick her ass if she runs. And Caitlyn Jenner could kick my ass too. So it'll be fun to see if she decides to do it. If Caitlyn's listening, please run. I'll donate. But I think California's fed up. If I just looked at a map today of the election results, Trump won the counties around LA. And most of the state is red, and Kamala wins the liberal areas along the coast where all the money is, and up north around San Fran, and that's what turned the tide. But yeah, if you go back and you look at the county votes, Trump won most of the counties in California.
Wow, that's interesting.
And there was. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ken.
No, I insist.
You two stop cutting each other off. You know what, Victoria, you go. Ladies first.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Speaking of Nathan Hochman, what do you think of him being district attorney?
Mike?
Well, I think he's better than the alternative. People say that, he came out and said he's going to hold cops accountable, and DA's got to say that. I think he's going to be much more level-headed. He ran for attorney general as a Republican, and he came in and pretended that he's independent or Democrat or whatever, because in LA County he had to do that, or he thought he did. But we'll wait and see. I mean, he's a mixed bag, huh?
I'm waiting for you to mention it. You know who he is, don't you?
Nathan Hochman?
You don't know? Who was Lee Barker's lawyer?
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to call Lee.
Oh, call Lee.
Yeah.
I was in both trials, and I have to say, I mean, this is recorded forever. I mean, what am I going to do? I'm sure he's a very nice man. He was not strong at all. In the first trial, there was a very strong lawyer he had, and I forget his name. He said that I would know it. Brilliant lawyer. He would have won that case. And poor Lee Barker, as innocent as the day is long, went to prison for 3 years plus because Nathan Hockman didn't do as strong a job, let's just say, and didn't bring all the evidence in, and was beaten down by No Mercy Percy. Remember?
Oh, I remember Judge Percy.
Percy.
Yeah, I had a case with him. He was
He
kind of
threw me out the courtroom.
yeah, he's a hanging judge, but
Oh yeah, for cops.
yeah.
He hates
No,
cops.
I didn't know that about Nathan. I guess I wasn't paying attention.
Call Lee up tomorrow.
Mike.
But we'll see. I can call Lee. I don't know if you heard recently though. I mean, he disappeared on his family for a while. Lee
I
did.
did. It was, just overnight till like 3 a.m. They found him in a Wendy's. Was it?
No, Denny's.
Denny's, yeah.
He just went in. He was chatting up some people at a table, and they're like, "Hey, this kind old man. He's been here a while, and we don't know who he is." And thank God people were out looking for him.
He has a bracelet on. He has his bracelet.
Yeah. No, Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know how coherent he is these days, to be honest with you. But
Speak to Carol, his wife. Speak to them. I've spoken to them recently, a few months ago.
Yeah. I've got a buddy who keeps in close contact with Carol, so I can check.
Well,
but he's not going to. I mean, that's water under the bridge nowadays. He's been out a while.
I want to ask Victoria, because I read your bio, because you can go to victoriaredstall.com and read her bio, and you're a TV presenter, and you were a model, and you're an author, and there's a photo of you in an LA County deputy sheriff uniform. I want to know all this stuff.
Oh,
who are you?
Yes. Sure. Oh, came to America at 19. And I was very scared of, let's say, the men, because they would follow me home or they would stalk me. I had terrible situations. So at the age of 20, I used to see these sheriff cars go by, and I just wanted to know one cop in the neighborhood. And I remember looking at the cop, and they looked at me and they go, "Hi, how are you?" And they had a chat with me. And the first cop I ever met was actually Rick Hippeck, Bob Minatello, and Chris Hicks. And I would walk to my gym in the mornings, and they would put the siren on, and they would do the PA, "Hi, Victoria, looking good today." And I would jump, and I was so excited. These cars, and they were carrying guns, and they got the lights and the sirens. And all I needed was them to be around me. So I felt that I knew one cop in the neighborhood, and then it became 2, then it became 3, then it became 10, then it became the entire West Hollywood Sheriff's Department. Then Captain Odenthal said, "Victoria, I am just captain in name only. You run the station. I'm just the one on the name." I would run it. I would tell Captain Odenthal, "You cannot put these 2 deputies in a car together. It's not going to last more than 4 weeks. They're going to fight. It's going to happen." But these were the days when cops could be cops. I would have the motorcycle units, say no names. I would let them park their motorcycles in my garage, and they would take a nap on my couch, whether I was there or not. I covered for them on so many things. I can say names now. I can say names because they let me, because they retired long ago. Chuck and Sammy in the evenings after briefing, they would come back to my place. They would chug back the Jack Daniels. I never told a human being, never. Tell me when I have to zip it. They would chug it back. And then,
it's your story, not mine.
well, and then my police scanner, I was given a police scanner. There was a shooting, and I thought, oh no, I'm going to be in yet another investigation, because I was always investigated when a deputy was in trouble or a sergeant was in trouble. And I'd always say, "I never saw that. That never happened. Nothing to do with me." A motorcycle under my garage. You come to my garage, it wouldn't go, it wouldn't fit. And it never happened. It never amounted to anything because the investigations were cut. But when the night they got drunk, as they often drank on the job, there was a shooting within a few hours, and I heard Deputy Young was involved. I said, now they're going to smell his breath. Then they're going to trace back where to get the alcohol. Oh, it must be Victoria. And it was always, no, they never smelled his breath. Shooting was justified. And I'm now going to cut it there.
Zippy wants all the stories, man.
Oh man,
all the dirt.
Zippy wants the dirt, man. I will say that this was a sheriff's department far, far away, and
yes.
It's just a beautiful work of fiction. I
made that up.
Oh my God,
See,
that was all.
Yeah, I'm an actress. I make up things.
Yeah, there you go.
That's me behind there.
Oh.
That's the Victoria Redstall.
The many
webpage.
Faces of Victoria Redstall.
That's so funny. Why am I behind there and then I'm in the front there? I don't know how you did that. Piper Minetti. I played Piper Minetti. Yeah.
That's just the way the website is.
Faulty.
Oh,
I don't know, but Yeah, look at all this cool stuff, though. Look at that. She's
Thank
all
you. And then you got the books and interviews, I think, on the left, or one of the tabs, and cooking, and
books.
commercials. I did, yeah, the books I've done and interviews. And then I worked for our congressman in California before I came to Florida. So I worked for him and I did his PSA commercials. Oh, and then the weather on the morning news, or a few things. I try not to go to my own website.
Well, more importantly, she also worked with me in my PI capacity after I retired. So there's that. So she didn't have a private investigator on her bio, but
It wouldn't fit.
She was there.
I loved working for you, Mike. Didn't we have fun? We went on so many cases, didn't we?
Well, don't start telling people that we sat and drank Jack Daniels and parked my motorcycle in your garage. Okay, yeah, there you go.
We did. We had burgers. You remember we had burgers on the road? We were eating burgers. Everything went everywhere. We had some fun times, though, wasn't it? We went into the jails to interview that lady. She was accused of shooting someone in Long Beach jail. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember that.
And I think you got her off. She walked free because she was innocent as the day is long.
Yeah, well,
time.
If you know what, if you want it done right, Zippy, you do not have a single story to tell.
I would like very much open invitation to Zippy to come on the show, spill the beans, everything Mike, for one night.
That'd be
good.
That'd be a pretty boring story.
I remember when she had to go to hospital once, and he would not leave her bedside. He was there overnight, every single night, sleeping on a chair. Right, Mike? Remember?
Oh, Mike!
Yeah. And you know what? That was during Thanksgiving. Oh my God, that's coming up tomorrow. She and I were in a hospital room. They were kind enough to bring in a cot for me, and they also served me a Thanksgiving meal along with her. And all the while, I was thinking, man, I hope my wife doesn't die. It was horrible. That's when she had her valve went bad. She got endocarditis, and it was strep viridins caused endocarditis. It ate away her aortic valve 180 degrees, and if it popped, it would be like John Ritter. She'd have died instantly. Tough time. Yeah, but you know what? That's Zippy, but you wouldn't know it. She's a tough one, man. She's been through it, and back again.
Victoria, sometimes on the show, Mike will be talking, and then Zippy will say something in the comments, or you'll hear her in the background, and Mike just like.
That's why she's Zippy. Zip it. Zip
Zippy.
Me.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, it was your fault, Mike.
Oh. Yeah, that's her initial strep viridins, I think, came from she was working at Twin Towers in one of the offices where all the inmates come in and clean everything, and they have all the germs floating in the air. They think she got strep from there. And,
Zippy was a sheriff?
She was a personnel administrator.
Oh, well, that's not good.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, boy, that was a tough time.
Scary time for you.
But, well, with her, I hate talking about her medical conditions, but with her, it's never a cold, man. It's always some kind of crazy, weird name with about 40 syllables in it. And I treat her, she should be in a bubble right now.
Yeah, go big or go home.
Well, she's probably got a dog licking her face right now, though, but what are you going to do?
I've never met Zippy, but I love her. She's just an amazing person to me. And Zippy, heart for Zippy.
Yeah, that's very, very appropriate for her, the heart.
Yeah, Victoria, you moved from England to America at 19? And why?
I lived in Spain, and then Spain.
What? And you've been out here ever since?
No, and then 19, I came to America, and I've been in America. Yeah, it's going to be almost 30 years.
Why did you leave your homeland to?
I didn't want to be in England. So I was always plotting my escape of England to go to Spain, where it has my heart. So I've always wanted to go to Spain. But in living in Spain, I lived with the gypsies. I learned Spanish. I speak Spanish, but I won't speak Spanish in America because those Hispanics need to speak English in an English-speaking country. But I learned Spanish in Spain. I lived in poverty, corrugated iron roof. It was amazing to go from a very well-bred, brought-up home that I came from, with boarding school, to poverty. And I learned, but there was no growth for me there. And I was destined, as my acting coach told me at boarding school, destined for the big screen, destined. And my father wouldn't send me to acting school in England because I was misbehaved throughout my schooling. I misbehaved throughout everything, especially boarding school. I was always in trouble. So he, quite rightly so, he wouldn't send me. So I said, that's it. I'm going to leave Spain. I left my heart there. My heart is always there. And I'm going to go to Hollywood. And I'm going to go to Hollywood. And I went on my own. And I got a scholarship, thanks to Al Pacino, at one of the best acting schools called Lee Strasberg. And that scholarship took another year. And I was there for just over 3 years on scholarship at Lee Strasberg while working as a waitress, but every 6 months leaving the country. So I didn't want to become an illegal alien. I was legal with a visa to be there and worked under the table. And then I would go and be a model in Mexico City and do commercials in Mexico City and all that stuff, earn money. And I'd left the country and I'd kept coming back. So every 6 months I was out of the country. And then immigration came closing doors on me saying, you're living more out of the country, in this country than you are back in England or in Europe. And they stamped me for just 2 more months. In that 2 months, about 26 years ago, I won my green card in the lottery. And I held it for 5 years. And 5 years later, became a citizen of this country. And that allowed me to get my parents in. And then they moved 10 years later. So they moved about 18 years ago to be close to me in Santa Clarita. And I stayed in Studio City. And we were half an hour from each other. And then the doors didn't close on me. The disgusting California way of living. Sorry, Mike, I know you're there, but the politics of California, when I became more political, the taxes, the homeless people, the Hispanics. Now, nothing wrong with being Hispanic as long as you learn the language of the country. But these bastards don't learn the language of the country. And some of them are illegal. And they breed like, I won't disrespect the most wonderful animal in the world. So I say cockroaches. They don't breed like, I love rabbits. They breed like cockroaches. And I said it, yes, they breed like cockroaches. So all these Hispanics that are coming across the border, it's not just 5 of these illegal aliens. They imagine 25 just from those 5, because they're going to just breed. That's what they do. That's what it's in their genes. It's in their makeup. So I'm not trying to be better than anyone. I'm not saying that, but I'm a legal alien. So I'm very against the illegal aliens. So going to Spain, where I'm allowed to work because I'm European, I'm Western European, coming to America, I did everything the right way. Then I win my green card and I'm now a citizen and my parents are citizens of the country. To come to Naples, Florida, where I never knew anybody here, was when I'd had enough of California. After I worked for our congressman, after I'd done everything, I'd made a wonderful careers for myself on camera. I'm able to buy a rental property. So at this point, I could have gone anywhere. And can I say the story real quickly about how it came to an end in the doctor's office? And I said, Mummy, we've got to get out of here.
It's your story.
Go
for it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's really, really true. So as much as I was hating LA and disliking, but I loved my LA County Sheriff's Department, love them. And that's my brothers and sisters. It goes through my veins. So I've always loved them. And I was always in a sheriff jurisdiction. So I was Santa Clarita, sheriff jurisdiction. West Hollywood, sheriff jurisdiction. Anyway, I was at the doctor's office. I hadn't been there 3 or 4 years. Thought I'd go for a checkup. Hadn't been in so many years. So I go to the doctors in Santa Clarita. Everyone is Hispanic in there. I thought I was in Tijuana. There are these kids screaming and all the people are speaking Mexican, not Spanish. That's from Spain. But they were speaking a form of a bastardized version of the Spanish language. So they're Mexican and they would be screaming and shouting and everything. So I got an application and one side is in Hispanic. The other side is in English. First question, are you male, female, something binary, something prefer not to say? So I couldn't believe what they were saying. Are you gender, transgender, all these words that I'd never heard of unless it's in a horror show. I wrote disgusting. The next paragraph, it said, are you gay, straight, pansexual, bisexual, polosexual, something. All these something sexuals. I wrote disgusting. And then there was something else. And it was just on and on and on. And then I thought, I can't stand this. I'm not filling this application out. You can have my name and address and my age and my social security number, but this is all disgusting. So they gave me a cup to pee in a glass to go to the restroom and pee in a cup, which is obviously what you do when you haven't gone to a doctor for years. You have to pee in a cup. So I took it and I looked for the restroom. I didn't see any ladies' room anywhere. So I look all around. There was no ladies' room. I can assure you, I don't know whether they just didn't build it or what, but there was nothing. So I walk around the place and I walk into an office that was open. Nobody was there. It's all dark. I walked into an office. I was wearing a skirt, as one does, and I placed it nicely. I aimed perfectly. Nothing dropped on the carpet. Perfectly into the glass. like this. You can't see me now, but you can imagine. I was peed into the glass. Someone comes in behind me. What are you doing? I said, I'm peeing into the glass like you told me to. They said, we told you to go to the restroom. I said, there's no ladies' room in this entire joint. So I thought I'd come into this office. There's nobody in here. There's nothing on the carpet. It's perfectly clear. You can see there's nothing wrong with me. And there it is. You need to get out of here or we're going to call the cops. I said, call the cops. You show me where there's a ladies' room. They brought me out and they showed me something called all gender. All gender, it said on the door. What is all gender? You have an innie or you have an outie. I don't care if it's unisex, but it's all gender. There's no such thing. I said, that's it. I'm going home. Here is your cup of urine. And now go and sell it because you can make money with my urine. I went home. I said, Mommy, we're getting out of California. Let's go. Throw a dart at the map. I don't care where we go. I'll make friends anywhere. Get me out of here.
Crazy.
Dale.
Mike,
what? Thank you. People are waiting.
How did you get such a shy guest, Mike? How did you do this?
I don't know. I don't know why she's holding back and not just telling us what she really thinks.
See, he like sheriffs have known me over 2 decades. Some have known me 3 decades. So it's like I can be the same myself because they know I never change.
So
That's
what do you
cool.
what do you like about the Florida coast?
I think Naples is really nice. It's probably the most conservative, clean living place in America that I know of, that I've been to. Florida is a fantastic state. I know Texas is as well. You're Washington State. You've got parts where you live, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Naples is probably the best place. Southwest Florida, you've got mainly conservative people, which is great. So therefore, there's more law and order. Great sheriff's department. We've got a wonderful sheriff's department here in Collier County and a fantastic sheriff's department above us in Lee County. Both sheriffs I know, fantastic people, very low crime. Look at the statistics. Very few homeless people. We get the occasional one and I want to throw an egg at them, but I don't because I'm in Naples and I'm known in Naples. I've got to be careful what I do. I'm not in Studio City or West Hollywood now. So very few homeless people, very little trash on the street, conservatives everywhere, very Christian. It's very Christian. I'm not into the organized religion. There's a bunch of hypocrites, a lot of them. So there is some hypocrisy in this town, but I stay away from that. I go to my church on a Tuesday night like I did tonight. And, it's a fantastic town with a lot of good people.
Okay, so tell us about the squirrels and bunny rabbits.
Oh my God, I've got wild bunnies that will run and jump into my hand with all the weight into my hand. It does take a while to cultivate the relationship. But if they trust you, they come out of nowhere, that bushes, and they'll come to me. It's very sweet. But about 3 months ago, I did rescue a squirrel from my dog's mouth. He's a badger hound, a dachshund, bred to kill squirrels and bunnies. And it was dying in my hands. And this is 3 months ago. And I just did a Facebook Live. I'm like, what do I do? My dog is just trying to kill this animal. It's going to die. So I placed him on my lanai, covered him in a lovely little box with lots of bedding so he could die peacefully, knowing that a human loved him. Overnight, I thought, so I could bury him in the morning. In the morning, I wake up. He's moving slowly. So he's alive. So I did research on squirrels. And you have to, every 2 hours, that means throughout the night, waking up every 2 hours, give them newborn puppy formula with a little warm water, not hot, and Pedialyte. And I would feed a syringe every 2 hours for this bunny. 2.5 months after, a few weeks, I was on the bottle. Then I could wake up every 5 hours. Then it was a hard food after a month. And now after 2.5 months, he lived in my bra. I took him to church. I took him to jobs where I'm working as a spokesmodel for alcohols. And I'm there in a black dress and I've got a squirrel, but I know he's sleeping, or I'm hoping he's sleeping because I'm serving alcohol. Would you like some Glenfiddich? Would you like to have it with a little bit of Canada Dry? Or would you like it? Oh my gosh, I feel him squirreling. I said, oh, no, don't worry. Nothing's wrong with my chest. And I'm holding him down so he doesn't move. And I'm talking to a customer. After 3 months, I moved to my new home and I thought, I'll set him free. Okay. I set him free. He comes back to me, comes back to the cage. Set him free. He comes back to me. But oh, well, what happens? He found a girlfriend. So now he's with his girlfriend. He's a block away from me because the girlfriend's telling him where the food is. And he sees me every day. But the food that's been given by the neighbors down the street, he doesn't like peanuts. And I know he likes cucumbers. So I take him his cucumbers every day. And he hangs from the tree and he wags his tail at me, but he won't jump on me anymore because he doesn't trust that I'm not going to try to put him back in his cage. And I wouldn't because he's got a girlfriend now. I'm waiting for some baby squirrels, and I know where he is every day.
Well, that's a story fit for the Wild Kingdom.
I know, like my 3-legged dog over there from Aruba, from the streets of Aruba. I got my 3-legged dog on working on cruise ships. I'd be every 2 weeks in the same port. And then I saw this dog running through the streets on 3 legs. I said, that dog's coming back to Naples with me.
I remember that. How did you get the dog back from Aruba?
Well, it took about 8 days to get him captured because there's a certain group or organization that captures stray dogs for a reason. You know, if they've been hit by a car, which is what sadly still looks like he's been hit by a car. 5 years ago he was. So they go out and they try to capture him. So it took about 8 days, and they got him under a car. They got him with a big net. They took him to the local vet in Aruba, and the vet checked him out, it x-rayed him. They said the dog hasn't just been hit by a car. He was hit 4.5 years before, because that's what the x-ray shows. He's been on the street 8.5 years. They could tell that by his teeth and the stones that he would eat. He had anemia. So all I needed to have happen, he needed to be cured from the anemia so he could be vaccinated, neutered, and chipped before coming to America. I waited months. I was calling every week for him to cure his anemia. My father passed away on June the 5th, 2022. I got the phone call end of May saying, can you pick Sabi up from Miami Airport on June the 5th, 2023? God gave me Sabi, and so did my father, because my father's temperament is in Sabi. He's a calm, loyal, good, solid man. Sabi is. I'm sorry, I'm looking at him. And that's my father. He's very, very calm. Unlike my mother and I, we're feisty bitches. Sabi is a calm, docile, wonderful man. Boy, dog. Like my father.
Well, there it is.
That's it.
Well, there it is.
From squirrel bunnies to squirrels to dogs to 3-legged dogs.
Well, Mike,
What?
go ahead.
I was gonna say, what's next for Victoria?
Oh, just my contact lenses is sticking. You don't want to talk about my contact lens. That's why I keep touching my eye. What's next? I don't know. What's next? I keep saying no to cruise ships. They keep wanting me in Alaska and they want me in the Caribbean, but I have these 2 dogs and a squirrel. I have my responsibilities here now.
So what do you do now? How do you make money? What are you doing?
Well, I often do shows. I'll be called to do a show. Like I did one for the Grim Sleeper about 6 months ago. It's on Tubi now and it's on Netflix. Tales of the Grim Sleeper. So they'll fly me to Miami or they'll come out to Naples and they'll rent a hotel, and I get a few $1,000s for that. Every weekend I do promotions for high-end alcohols. So I do that, and then I come back with all the alcohols, and I've got them in my bar right now. Most places let me take the bottles home with me so I could open a liquor store. So I do that. And then I manage properties. I manage properties for a small independent investor. So I have to organize a plumber for them, and I have to organize an electrician, and I have to oversee things and let people in the door and rent it out and put ads out for them. Oh, that's so sweet, GJ. Thank you so much. But I have to put ads out. So I'm moving and shaking every day. I'm doing something. I'm up at 4:30 every day. My day begins at 4:35 in the morning. At the gym, do an hour at the gym, and I'm ready to go by 8:30 back home. And then I'm calmed down by about 6 or 7 o'clock. Not tonight. Got me up for past my bedtime.
Yeah, we got you up 3 hours past your bedtime.
But it's been worth it.
Well, if anybody has any questions for Victoria, go ahead and shoot them out to us. And if you have not yet subscribed to 1019 The Watch Commander, please do so.
Do so.
Ken's got his show. It's that other one. I forget the name of it.
The Police Applicant Podcast.
Yeah, that one.
Come on.
If you belong to the Police Applicant podcast, do that one and do mine. Please. Victoria, and thank you for coming on tonight. It was a blast.
Wonderful. Listen, and if anyone wants to follow me on Facebook, I do more Facebook than anything. It's Victoria Redstall España. But if you are an LA County Sheriff, then you can be my friend on Facebook, and I will totally accept you. But that's a LA County Sheriff.
You can be my friend.
You know a few LAPD, Ken. No disrespect. I love LAPD, but I don't know as many as I know sheriffs. I run the joint.
Well, but you know Ken now, so you can let Ken be one of your friends.
Absolutely. I would love
Yeah.
to.
Even though he's in a bar right now.
I'm in a bar.
You're in a bar, yeah.
We are 1019 The Watch Commander at the shortstop, and Mike keeps drinking at his kitchen. So
Me too.
Actually, that cabinet right there will rival anything Victoria has because it is stocked full of stuff.
What, yours?
Yeah, it stays there though. I mean, Sean and I rarely drink. I probably will have one tonight, maybe a triple, but
Well, after this one, yeah.
yeah, okay, yeah, but
Having me,
I guess
thank you.
yeah. Do you have anything else there, Ken? You want to spout out?
I'm good. It was a fun time. We you told me that Victoria was feisty, and definitely feisty. So that was fun. Yeah.
She is self-identified feisty.
She self-identifies as a
Yeah.
feisty person.
And of course,
So-
she speaks for herself and not for this show. Thank you very much.
I didn't overpower everybody. I can't be overpowering. I'm so sorry.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Thanks everybody for joining us. And Victoria, as we mentioned, go ahead and hang out with us after we get done here. And thanks everybody. We'll be back next week.
Bye, everyone.